Welcome to Mosaic. Today we will continue our journey into the Year of Mercy, designated by Pope Francis to run from December 2015 through November 2016. Today we will be learning about Charities Internationalis and two of its member organizations which are based here in the U.S., Catholic Relief Services and Catholic Charities. I am your host, Angela Pollock, and speaking with me today are Jane Ferguson Flout from Catholic Charities, San Francisco, and Maria Arroyo from Catholic Relief Services. Please join us when we come back to discover all the wonderful things our Catholic Church in the U.S. is doing to serve the most poor and vulnerable here and around the world. Hello and welcome to Mosaic. I am your host, Angela Pollock, and joining me today is Jane Ferguson Flout from Catholic Charities. Jane is the Director of Community and Parish Engagement at Catholic Charities San Francisco. Jane has more than 20 years of experience in community engagement in the nonprofit sector. She served at Catholic Charities for the past 6.5 years, and prior to working at Catholic Charities, Jane was the Director of Pastoral Care and Community Ministry at St. Mary's Parish in Los Gatos, California for 10 years. Jane also served as the Associate Director of the Peace Corps in the Eastern Caribbean, and she worked in rural community development as a Peace Corps volunteer in Benin, West Africa. Welcome, Jane.
Thank you.
In addition, we are also delighted to have with us today Maria Arroyo from Catholic Relief Services. Maria has been a relationship manager with Catholic Relief Services on the West Coast for 6.5 years, serving primarily in Southern California. She has over 20 years of experience working with the church in various roles, including parish pastoral agent, youth and young adult minister, Catholic school teacher. She is also an instructor at the Institute for Faith Formation with the Diocese of Orange and San Diego. Maria has spent time leading delegations and serving communities throughout India, Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. Most recently, Maria lived in southern Mexico, accompanying indigenous communities in the highlands of Chiapas. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you.
Before we explore the two organizations each of these ladies represents, let's first talk about Charities Internationalis, of which the two organizations are members. Charities Internationalis is an organizing body of the Catholic Church. It's headquartered in Rome, and it's a confederation of over 160 members who are working at the grassroots in almost every country of the world. When a crisis hits, like the recent earthquake in Ecuador, Charities is already on the ground and able to respond. In addition to responding to crises, Charities members work to help the most poor and vulnerable all around the world. Inspired by our Catholic faith, Charities is the helping hands of the Church, reaching out to the poor, the vulnerable, the excluded, regardless of race or religion, to build a world based on justice and fraternal love. Charities is inspired by Scripture, Catholic social teaching, and by the experiences and hopes of people who are disadvantaged and living in poverty. Charities works with people of all faiths and those who have none. The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops here in the U.S. decided to organize their Charities efforts into two organizations. Catholic Relief Services seeks to serve the most poor and vulnerable overseas. Catholic Charities serves the poor and vulnerable here in the U.S. These two organizations together are the official arms of the U.S. Catholic community, reaching out to love our neighbors at home and abroad. Welcome again, ladies.
Thank you.
I would love to hear you talk in your own words about each of your organizations and tell us a little bit about what your work is and how you work together collaboratively.
Well, it's great to be here, and it's great to be here with Maria in Catholic Relief Services. Speaking about Catholic Charities in San Francisco, Catholic Charities serves the needs locally of the poor and vulnerable in San Francisco and Marin and San Mateo counties. And we've been doing this work for over 100 years since our founding in 1907. And essentially what we're doing is we're serving as a bridge between the Church's Catholic social teaching on the one hand and the needs of the community on the other. And so what is this Catholic social teaching? And the primary social teaching is the dignity of the human person. And this informs how we respond to community needs, that each person is precious and that people are more important than things. And the preferential option for the poor and vulnerable, that the moral test of every society is how they respond to people who have the least.
Right.
Solidarity, that we are our brothers and sisters keepers, and we have a responsibility to each other. And then the call to community and family and participation, that if we were to describe the more than 30 programs that Catholic Charities offers in this local region, strengthening families and reducing poverty is the theme. And we serve in 5 key areas in our community, and that is in homelessness and housing, refugee and immigrant services, children and family services, aging support services, and behavioral health services. We have a staff of 500 professionals who are providing expert and compassionate care alongside more than 4,000 volunteers who really help us increase our capacity to serve our mission. And it's what we like to say is that all of us together, our clients, our volunteers, our staff, and our donors, together we are Catholic Charities, sharing and receiving dignity together. And so I think that we collaborate. The way that we collaborate with Catholic Relief Services is that we each know where we begin and end. We're serving the local needs of our community, and when we get a call in of someone who's looking to help internationally with a crisis, we know who to connect them to with Catholic Relief Services. But together, Catholic Relief Services and Catholic Charities are also on Capitol Hill together, hundreds of us going into our House of Representatives, our congressional representatives, and advocating on behalf of the poor and vulnerable.
That is fantastic. And I love how it's not just about giving a handout. It's really about helping the whole of the human person and really honoring that dignity. Thank you for describing what you're doing locally. Maria, would you talk to us about Catholic Relief Services and how you're structured and what you do? And
Sure. So Catholic Relief Services, or CRS as it's known, is the Humanitarian Emergency Relief and Development Agency of the U.S. Catholic Church. And we have about 5,000 staff all around the world. We're in about 100 countries. And we're really inspired by the gospel of Jesus and really embody the principles of Catholic social teaching. And so what does this look like on the ground in our everyday? So our emergency relief efforts, for example, we provide basic needs to the victims of natural disasters like the earthquake in Ecuador, as you mentioned earlier, typhoons, hurricanes. And so what does that look like? We are on the ground, and one way in which we collaborate with the local Catholic Charities offices is, we help distribute these basic needs like food, shelter, water and sanitation, and hygiene kits, and things of this nature. Here in the U.S., what we do is that we walk with Catholics in their journey towards solidarity, and we invite them to 4 things: to pray, to learn, to act, and to give. And so through those steps, the journey towards solidarity begins to be fostered in the family, in the parish communities, in diocesan events, and things of this nature.
wonderful. So your work here in the U.S. is all about helping U.S. Catholics to live out their faith and learn about their brothers and sisters overseas.
Yes.
Wonderful. We hope that you will join us when we come back and learn how you can be more a part of this one human family when we talk more about the wonderful work of Catholic Relief Services and Catholic Charities. Thank you. Welcome back to Mosaic. We are journeying through the Year of Mercy, and today I'm joined by 2 wonderful individuals representing 2 incredible organizations, Jane Ferguson Flout from Catholic Charities San Francisco and Maria Arroyo from Catholic Relief Services. Together, these 2 organizations are the official arms of the U.S. Catholic Church, reaching out to serve the most poor and vulnerable all around the world. And as we've been talking about the Year of Mercy, and we've been talking about all these wonderful ways that people can engage the Year of Mercy, I wonder if you would both talk about some of the different things that your organizations are offering people that they can really engage the Year of Mercy through some of the activities that you offer. Maria, would you tell us about Catholic Relief Services, some of their specific activities that are around the Year of Mercy where people can get involved?
Sure. So this Jubilee Year of Mercy, one of the things that we're doing is helping to shed light on Jesus' message of mercy by highlighting Matthew 25, where he shares with us the corporal works of mercy, and he says that whenever you did it for one of our brothers and sisters, you did it for me. So one of the things that we've done is that we've created a series of prayers and resources that the viewers can access on our website, and these are specific to the Year of Mercy. They can take back to their families, to their parishes, to their communities, and have reflection sessions and prayer exercises around the Year of Mercy. And then one of the other things that we're doing is also inviting Catholics to engage in some of our programs here in the U.S. So for example, CRS Rice Bowl, which is a Lenten program and is built on the 3 pillars of Lent: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, and many of the viewers might have participated this last Lent. So what happens when the viewers participate in some of our programs? For over 70 years, since 1943, CRS has been feeding the hungry, developing food security programs. We've been bringing water to some of the most driest places on the planet. We've been helping the sick, helping curb diseases like malaria, Ebola, HIV, and AIDS, and bringing shelter to a lot of people made homeless through violence, war, natural disasters like the Syrian refugee crisis at this moment. And so by participating in these programs like CRS Rice Bowl, opting for fair trade products and coffee during your morning ritual, and advocating, as Jane mentioned, advocating for more just global policies, reminding our national representatives to keep international assistance as a priority on the forefront. The viewers, our Catholic viewers, will be participating and engaging in the corporal works of mercy at the global level through the work of our church. And so we invite them to go onto our website and discover the variety of options that we have for them.
Wonderful, wonderful. So really quickly, could you just give a couple of ideas? Because it sounds like a lot of your work here in the U.S. is, and we saw some of the pictures, education and really asking people to take action, legislative action and fasting and those kinds of things. For people who are really concerned, and I know so many people here in San Francisco they're very concerned about what's happened recently in Ecuador. They're very concerned about HIV and AIDS and how it's affecting the most poor around the world. What are some ways that you would say they could actually take action? People want to get involved in so many ways. And is there something that you would say specifically to, something like Ecuador right now, which is on people's minds? What would you ask people to do?
Sure, absolutely. First and foremost, to pray. We all are able to pray. It is very simple, and we can never underestimate the power of prayer. So that's something we can do. Pray for global solidarity, pray specifically for the needs and the sufferings of the victims of the Ecuador earthquake, for example, for the Syrian refugees. Right, and the other thing is to donate. The generous contributions really at this time is what helps sustain the emergency relief efforts of our church, and to help sustain the promotion of human development through the various programs that we do overseas: education, agriculture, microfinance, peace building efforts. And so really that does go a long way. I know the temptation is to want to donate blankets, canned foods, and things like this, but during emergencies, to be able to stimulate the local economy and to get the materials on the ground is really more far-reaching than these other materials.
That's great. And as the official organization of the U.S. Catholic Church, you can be trusted, but also you've gotten so many awards for, just how well you honor donor intent, and you make sure that every dollar goes mostly to the poor, and that's just fantastic. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So, Jane, would you tell us about Catholic Charities and how some of the different things that we could do here in San Francisco through your organization to engage this Year of Mercy?
Absolutely. So, Maria was talking about education that is being provided by Catholic Relief Services about the corporal works of mercy. And so what we're doing locally is giving people the opportunity to put these works of mercy into practice, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, sheltering the homeless, welcoming the stranger through all of our programs in 3 counties. And we have one-time volunteer opportunities and ongoing volunteer opportunities to serve food through our programs, to be a skilled volunteer if you're an attorney or a paralegal, to work side by side with our staff in helping to build cases for the immigrants who are looking for a trustworthy place to navigate the legal immigration system. We have volunteers who are baby cuddlers. So we have so many volunteer opportunities that are listed on our website, and we are happy to talk to people personally on the phone and find ways for people to serve. We have many ways for people to serve. A special way during the Year of Mercy, Pope Francis talks about the special place for pilgrimage during the Year of Mercy, and that it's a metaphor for the journey that each of us is making in life towards our true destination, which he says is love, to love one another. And so we've offered ways for people to do a type of pilgrimage through program tours. We open the doors to 7 of our programs in 3 counties, and we've invited people, come from your neighborhood into our neighborhood, and open your eyes and open your hearts to hear about what's going on at this program, how lives are being changed, and meet our staff and see how you can volunteer with us.
That's so fantastic. I love it because, as we all are seeking to love our neighbor, the most important place to start is looking to build that relationship and first meeting people. And I love that there's that invitation to take a pilgrimage here in San Francisco and get to know our neighbors. Wonderful. Thank you, ladies, so much. When we come back, we're going to hear some more about the work of Catholic Charities and CRS, and we hope that you will join us. Welcome back to Mosaic. I'm Angela Pollock, and with me today is Jane Ferguson Flout from Catholic Charities San Francisco and Maria Arroyo from Catholic Relief Services. These 2 organizations are the 2 arms of the U.S. Catholic Church, reaching out to serve the poor and vulnerable all around the world. In every day and age, we are constantly, as the faithful, looking to respond to that command of Jesus to love our neighbor. And in every day and age, we are brought new challenges. And the beauty of these 2 organizations is that they look not just to give out handouts, but they actually look to change the structures that create poverty. They're looking to change these systems and structures to be able to give people the tools that they need to lift themselves up out of poverty. We've been talking about the Year of Mercy and different ways that you can get involved with their organizations and live out this Year of Mercy that Pope Francis has invited us to. But these organizations are constantly doing their work, and they've been doing it for many years. And there's so many ways that you can stay engaged in their organizations. So ladies, I'd like to, in these last minutes of our show here, would you talk some more about just the general work that you do and each of your organizations does, and how people can continue beyond the Year of Mercy and getting engaged? You've mentioned so many different wonderful programs and opportunities that are available to people, from Rice Bowl and responding to the recent earthquake in Ecuador to, your wonderful programs helping the homeless here in San Francisco. I wonder is there more that you want to say in these last few minutes to our viewers and sharing your work with them and how they can continue and make this part of their lives, living out the works of mercy that Jesus has asked us to live out in that response to loving your neighbor?
Well, I think I'd like to mention how people can really become involved with us in changing the structures that actually create poverty.
Fantastic.
Because we are engaged in changing and reducing poverty and strengthening families. And so I invite people to join us in this work by being merciful so that together we can show mercy in our community. And how can we do this? So I'd like to be concrete and talk about 2 of our programs that are serving youth. How are we providing? We like to say we provide a hand up, not a handout. So how are we doing this? So at Catholic Charities, Canal Family Support in the Canal area of San Rafael, and at our our youth club at St. Francis of Assisi in East Palo Alto in San Mateo County. These are 2 youth programs that serve elementary age youth who are English learning students who are behind in reading and academics from their peers in public schools. And so at the outset, they face a disadvantage. But through our programs, we are providing academic after-school support through teachers and volunteers who are serving as mentors that are really making a difference in the lives of these children. And they are going on to graduate from high school and college and breaking cycles of generational poverty. And so I invite you to join us in this work throughout the spectrum of the many different ways that we are changing people's lives.
Thank you so much. And Maria, how about Catholic Relief Services?
Sure. One of the things that I'd like to invite our viewers, to do is to continue their journey of learning. You know, what are those global issues out there and how is our church responding? And they can go onto our website and just keep updated on the emergency response to a lot of these crises like the Syrian refugees. Now we have a major drought happening in Ethiopia, and what is our church doing? And then also to reflect on how do they want to respond? How do they feel moved to respond? How can they be bridges of solidarity in their families? How can they be bridges of solidarity in their communities, their parish communities, their schools, universities? And to be able to be those agents of solidarity. And then also to offer their generous donations. So they can go onto our website, crs.org. For the Spanish speakers, they can go to crsespanol.org. They can follow us on Facebook, on Twitter. They can call our regional office, and we can put them in touch with the relationship manager that is in their area, and they can have a conversation and come up with many ideas.
Fantastic. What I love about both of these organizations is when you hear about these things on the news, it can be really overwhelming. Yes. People do want to get involved, but oftentimes I think they hear it and they're so heartbroken by it that they turn off the news. But if you go to your websites, Catholic Charities or CRS, there's so much wonderful information to learn about that actually is very hope-filled.
Yes.
And it's a really joy-filled also. The work is so wonderful. So thank you both so much.
Thank you.
And thank you all for joining us on this segment of Mosaic. And we hope that you will continue to learn about the Year of Mercy at our Archdiocesan website, as well as join CRS and Catholic Charities in living out the works of mercy. Thank you. See you next time.